So you're thinking about installing Butcher Block countertops. Here are some things you need to know before you do so. If you're new here, I'm Lena. I show you how to transform outdated spaces and furniture and make them flipping gorgeous. And in today's video, we're going to go into all the things that you need to know about Butcher Block countertops so you can determine if they're the right option for you. Consider subscribing below if you want to keep up to date with all of my DIY projects and get inspired to do them on your own. Here's the first thing that you should know about Butcher Block countertops. True Butcher Block countertops are wood countertops that are strips of wood that have been fused together. They can be made out of maple, birch are the ones that I use, and a variety of other woods. And true Butcher Block countertops have no filler and they are just wood. Number two, where can you buy Butcher Block countertops? So here's the cool thing about Butcher Block countertops. They're actually carried by some of your big box stores like Lowe's, Home Depot. They're also carried by lumber liquidators. I chose to buy mine through Home Depot because they were the right width that I needed, they were readily available, and I could easily go get them myself. So again, the ones that I used were Hardwood Reflections from Home Depot. Another place that people often say you can get Butcher Block countertops are from IKEA, but things you should know about IKEA is some of their Butcher Block countertops are actually wood veneer. So you really want to make sure that you read the product specifications when it comes to how they can be installed, if they can be sanded, and if they can be cut. Number three, where can you use Butcher Block countertops? They can be used in a variety of areas. In this particular video, I want to focus on using Butcher Block countertops in a kitchen because that's where I use them. So the most common place to have Butcher Block countertops is an island, but in this particular kitchen renovation that I did, I chose to make the perimeter of the kitchen Butcher Block because we had this huge, massive stone island in the middle. And my personal opinion is that I think Butcher Block works best in a kitchen when it's used in conjunction with a stone. So that would be either like this kitchen, use it around the perimeters, have a big stone island, or vice versa, have stone in the perimeters and a nice Butcher Block in the middle. That way you get the best of both worlds. Number four, can you install Butcher Block countertops yourself? And the answer is yes, and I did it. And I think one of the best things about Butcher Block countertops is they are super DIY friendly. They can be completely customized to the space that you want. They can be cut to size, they can be stained, and they really give you the power to do it all yourself without a ton of experience. I did it over a 3-day weekend and I had never done these before, and I actually found them fairly easy to cut and install and to stain. So just make sure wherever you purchase your Butcher Block from to really go to that manufacturer's website and to get all of their best tips for installing. You can also watch my video to see how I did it. 5, can you stain Butcher Block or does it have to be left natural? And the answer is you can choose. I think natural Butcher Block is beautiful. I think it comes down to what is your style and how are you going to use the Butcher Block. Now, if you leave the Butcher Block natural, you just need to know there's going to be a little more prep and upkeep involved in that, and I'll get into that a little bit later when it comes to how to keep the lifespan of your Butcher Block or the longevity of it versus staining. Now, if you choose to stain it, you are going to have to properly seal it in order to prep food on it. You can't just leave the stain natural, not natural, but unsealed. You're going to have to seal it with something like a Waterlux, a tung oil, mineral oil, or a protective top coat, like a satin poly, that is going to be able to cure so that then it is food safe to prep on, so you're not prepping directly on that stained wood. So stain or leave natural, the choice is up to you, but again, I think Butcher Block provides a lot of versatility when it comes to the type of style that you want the wood to be, and you can stain it with a variety of gel stains. Number 6, how do you protect your Butcher Block countertops? I get a lot of questions about this. Do they hold up? Could you put something that's hot on them? What happens if they ding or scratch it? Now, again, this is going to go back to the type of finish and your intention with the Butcher Block. So let's say you choose to do a Butcher Block island and your goal is to leave it natural and to prep on that surface directly. Now, knowing that you're going to leave it natural, you are going to have to be prepared that it's going to take a little more upkeep in terms of conditioning and oiling that countertop. It might be every few weeks, it might be every few months. It really depends on your level of use and how you clean up every single time. But just know, if you leave it unfinished, no sealer, you are going to have to oil it every few weeks. I would say every 6 weeks, just to keep that wood really rich and moist and not to let it dry out and start to crack. Now, if you choose to seal it, you're going to have a little less work when it comes to oiling conditioning. So again, that's something to think about. But again, if you do choose to seal it, make sure that you're using something that's completely secured and then is food prep safe. But again, I never wanted to prep directly on the Butcher Block countertops. I always use a cutting board, which again, this is a debate, but you tell me, cutting board or prep directly on the surface? Tell me in the comments. Verse 7. How long do Butcher Block countertops last? And that is going to vary, but Butcher Block can last an incredibly long time if you care for it properly. Again, if you leave it natural, making sure you're oiling it every 6 weeks or so, and again, cleaning it properly. I would say the great thing about Butcher Block is that it can be easily refinished every couple of years if you want to make it look brand spanking new. If you get some dents or scratches in it, it's pretty easy to just buff those out and refinish it, versus like if you had a stone that got cracked and you have to replace that whole piece of stone. That's much more difficult. So the nice thing about Butcher Block is, while it might be less durable than stone, it's also very easy to buff out any dings or niches or scratches. One thing to really consider, if you love the look of Butcher Block, but maybe you think that your household's a little too busy and crazy for wood countertops, is consider applying an epoxy resin. This will allow you to have the wood looks, but it's going to put over it like an acrylic finish that will be very durable, and then you don't have to worry about oiling the Butcher Block at all from that point, because now you've got an acrylic surface on it that can be just wiped down with any type of cleaner, and it's going to be much more durable, and you don't have to worry about dings or scrapes or things like that. So I would say, if you love the look of wood countertops and Butcher Block, but you're afraid that they're not quite durable enough for you, consider adding an epoxy resin. This is actually something you can do on your own as well after you stain or leave them natural. Conclusion: Butcher Block is a great DIY option if you're looking for something that is affordable and beautiful and has a classic look. And if you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your kitchen, I would suggest using it in conjunction with a quartz countertop. So you've got one really great stone durable surface and then one beautiful wood surface that can be used however you intend it to be, whether that's prepping directly on it or just using it and then putting a cutting board on it. Again, tell me in the comments, cutting board or do you prep directly on the surface? I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time.